The first Wreck-It Ralph film is a moderately entertaining film which is basically Toy Story in a video arcade. It came out, for one reason or another I missed it, and yet I've never felt like I missed anything at all. An opinion which was confirmed when I watched it this weekend in preparation for Wreck-It Ralph 2, Wreck Harder, and one in which I now hold the exact same opinion. If I'd missed it because, say, a low-budget Scottish film described as Shaun of the Dead meets La La Land had been screened in more than one cinema at a time when I couldn't have gotten to it if I valued my legs, I wouldn't have missed anything at all. Because this is your bog-standard rescue the MacGuffin to save the world plot. It has other ideas, but it doesn't develop or examine them, which is a shame because it could have analysed our modern culture through the lens of someone from the 80s in a way that could speak to children who are on the cusp of or are starting to discover the online world. It could have been an interesting and timely film, but it just doesn't do any of that. I mean, it's got enough product placement to make the emoji debacle look restrained, with Google, eBay, Amazon, Fandango, Snapchat, Twitter and Facebook all being present and correct. And look, Disney, I know that you own pretty much every big franchise and 99% of everyone's childhood, but this is just blatant waving in the face of how you pretty much own cinema and TV. And it's not like you guys are benevolent overlords. Remember that time you decided to blacklist critics from Los Angeles Times from advanced press screenings to punish them for running a truly fascinating series about Disney's political influence in Anaheim, California? Because I remember it. And I also remember that it only ended because loads of critics said that they would review the film with lowly mortals and put their reviews up late if they reviewed the film at all. Also, I'm not sure who pays who in this circumstance. Does Disney need to license the Google logo, or does Google pay Disney for what is essentially free advertising? Also, why is there YouTube stand-in called BuzzTube? Google owns YouTube, so why couldn't they use it? Sorry. I got distracted from this tepid celebrity voice acted instead of getting professional voice actors who could, actually emote with their voices, exercising corporate branding and toy sales, which squanders interesting ideas and subtle morals for the inevitable, tedious and dull speech at the end. The animation is fine, but the film just seems to be lacking a heart, or even the relative spark and imagination that the first one have. A random out-of-place song didn't help matters either. Now, maybe I'm just getting grouchy in my old age, but I remember films that made me feel something. I'm not blinded by nostalgia. Any childhood film is a product to be sold, and I'm sure that any film I hold near and dear to my heart came with a ton of merchandise, but I cried during The Land Before Time. I sang along with Aladdin and wanted him to triumph over evil. I felt fear during Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Hell, I even got a tear in my eye during The Amazing Lava a few years ago, which was compounded by the excellent film Inside Out, which followed it. But I didn't feel anything during this film. No tension during exciting moments, no tear threatened during the inevitable second act breakup, no laugh during the happier moments. I was just numb. So much product placement, so many potentially interesting characters that were just wasted. There was an interesting side plot about adoption which went nowhere and could have been dropped with no issue whatsoever, or developed as an interesting side plot to the main one. It did its job in passing 112 minutes pretty harmlessly, and the children in my screening seemed pretty entertained, and no adult ran out screaming or sat there wondering what exact life choices had gotten them into the situation and how exactly they were going to get themselves out of it. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, Ralph Breaks the Daniel isn't doing anyone any harm. It's vaguely entertaining with a passable cast reading an entirely passable script which squanders examining our Enster culture with an entirely predictable plot, covered in so much product placement that I'm convinced it was in profit before a single person saw it. And of course, there's the whole undercurrent of Disney showing off all the franchise it owns. In fact, Disney owns so much stuff, and I swear this is true. Pulp Fiction is technically a Disney film, along with The Muppets, which is probably how Quentin Tarantino ended up in the terrible Muppets Wizard of Oz film. So, thank you, Ralph Breaks the Internet, for showing me our bland, Disney-dominated future. You can keep it. If you'll excuse me, I'm off for a shower, and then I'm going to track down some dancing Scottish zombies. You can skip this. But what do you guys think? And what is the worst example of product placement you have ever seen in a film? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, it's been a dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.